So I don't know what happened. I was literally in the middle of doing my makeup today. Like I just finished like blow drying my hair and I was starting to put mascara on and I noticed my head was bleeding. And I don't recall hitting anything. I don't know how or why that might have happened, but I'm gonna have to go. I can't even look. Like I'm gonna have to go check that out because I don't know. I don't know what I hit. I don't know why I'm bleeding. So there's gonna be a slight delay in this video until I figure out what happened. But yeah, I'm gonna check that out and then finish my makeup and I will I guess get on with the video. Sorry. Hi again. Anyways, I finished my makeup. My dad had to put some antibiotics on my head, so my hair is gonna be pretty oily in this video. It's gonna be fun, but ready to start. So just so you know, my hair is gonna be really oily today because I am bleeding for some reason. Now to start this painful process that I instantly regret embarking on. I'm gonna start with some books that I just recently bought. Still receipt from Carm thrift store. Thrift store books. You know, well, these are brand new and I just bought them, so I'm gonna keep these for now. So I'm just gonna show you these. These I am definitely keeping because they are from my childhood. They're some of my favorite. Like I was obsessed, and I mean obsessed with the Goosebumps series when I was little. Like just like the art of them, the colors that he used for some very, very creepy. This is my all-time favorite, honestly. I still remembered it and kind of had like nightmares about the ending years and years after I read this first. And this was actually, I think, one of the first that I read, which is number 16. It's apparently really hard to find. You know, just the colors, the design, the imagery, it's very much a part of just my childhood and kind of an aesthetic that I admire. And what's really cool about these, I have like more otherwares. I have more elsewhere, but like these are actually signed by the artist Tim Jacobus. These books, which have like tabs and have been read through numerous times, the Save the Cat series, these are recommended by my all-time favorite screenwriting professor. I mean, he recommended the most books of any teacher I ever had. That's not why he's my favorite, but I got so much from him. And to this day, he's still one of my favorite professors on the planet. Well, he died last year, but still to this day, he's one of my favorite teachers, professors that I've ever had because he made the biggest impact on me. And I've got so many of my books still from his class, and so many like notes and papers and things from things that I had written while I was just he made fun of me first day I went into that class because I came in super early, and he made fun of me for it. Actually, one that he recommended for our college level screenwriting class. Like you can still see the UT used book logo on it. So like this is a children's book that he had us read in college just because of the way that Harold like created things. Like he saw a problem, he encountered a problem, and he created his own way out of it. He with his little purple crayon. And that's what he wanted to do. He's like, if you write yourself into a problem, you've got to figure out how to write yourself out. And so yeah, this is very special to me. even if it's been chewed on by my cat. Like, he chews on literally everything. He will chew on the corner of my books to get my attention, which is why I had to push him. See, look, there he is right now. Kitty, can I help you? Can I help you? Yeah. You're a big thing, you know that. You're not a baby anymore. You're not a baby anymore. God. What am I gonna do with you? What am I gonna do with you? You monster. Look at how big he is. Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna be able to do this anymore one day. It was just fun. Scooby-Doo meets Cthulhu, odd fan fiction type stuff, but it actually had a lot of really good ideas and plot devices that I hadn't thought of, and a lot of things that I wish would have gone more to fruition. He's chewing on my books, isn't he? That never did. But this actually gave me a lot of ideas for some of my own writing. And it's just cool looking. It's a cool title. It's a cool concept. It gives me inspiration for things. So definitely keeping it. Plus, just look at it. It's so cool. Love the colors. Love the design. This 10 out of 10 on ideas. 5 out of 10 on execution. I have to do that, otherwise he will chew holes in the corners of all my books. I might have to put him out. But if I put him out and shut the door, he will claw and scratch on the door and whine and cry. So it's like, do I want the noises? Or do I want to have to push him away from my books every 5 minutes? We'll see. We'll see. I have a lot of children's books, actually. You guys don't know the half of it. This book I have because it was one of the first books that ever made me so mad that I literally threw it across the room. Like, slammed it shut and threw it across the room. Oh, and that's just because it deals with one of the things that irks me the most. Yeah. Is that a positive reason to keep a book? I just like being reminded of things that make me feel something really, really strong. And this book was really, really well written. Just the concept and some of the things that happened to the characters really, really made me mad. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot for me to hate a character and thing so much that I throw a book across the room, but I did that with this book. Might have to edit this or censor this. So this book, very special memory. This book is actually how I found out what a blowjob was, and this was a book that I had checked out of our school library sophomore year of high school because me and some friends of mine decided to try to do a book club, and we were all going to read the same book, and this is the book that they chose. Oh, and I remember being so confused because I was a sophomore in high school. I probably should have known more, but I was just very, very sheltered and repressed. So I got to the part where he gets this Romanian girlfriend, and they're just like talking just randomly on a couch, and then she's just like, oh, have you ever had a blowjob? Just randomly, like a porno. And he's just like, no. She's like, oh, well, I've never given one before. And so then they're just like two kids that don't even know what they're doing, and they try, and they're just like, nothing happened. What am I supposed to do? And so they go and they have to find Alaska, who's actually a person, and be like, what are we doing wrong? How do we do this? And I remember when she said blowjob, I was just like, is she wanting to, I thought like blow dry, like she was wanting to like blow dry his hair or something, and I was like, is she wanting to be a hairstylist? I don't get it. And then she unzipped his pants, and I was just like, oh. Not at all what I thought it was gonna be. And then I told my friend Kaylee, one of my best friends in high school, and she was just like, girl, I gotta teach you some things. And I was just like, oh boy, what have I opened? This can of worms. So yeah, they get all up in arms about banning books, you know, God, especially in the South, banning books that are too risque or indoctrinating. This one won an award for young adult fiction. Yeah, this is the book that this is how I found out what a blowjob was, from a book that I checked out of the school library. And if that doesn't sum up my high school experience and what I'm like, I don't know what else does. Really good book. It's a really sad book. It deals with some really hard issues, especially towards the end, and tackles a lot of really difficult concepts that I'm really surprised that any children's book, well, this is not a children's book, any young adult teen fiction book would. So yeah, kudos to John Green. Love his stuff, love his concepts, love his ideas. Definitely keeping this book. Oh, it's gonna be so hard to let go of books. This book is probably one of my most treasured possessions, book-wise, because this is one of the first edition, like very old, one of the first ever copied book editions of Peter Pan, when it, like literally when it first came out. Peter and Wendy. Literally one of my most treasured possessions is this book. So this book's not going on the floor. It's gonna go on a shelf where I can see it and where my cat can't touch it. We're gonna be right back. I had to climb over my bed at this point to get to the books that I'm about to show you. So I'm gonna show you some more books. This is gonna be noisy and I apologize for that. I decided to not go through all my comics because I don't have all month to do this. I just have the rest of the week. So, but I'm gonna show you some of my favorite graphic novels based off of a comic series. Love this one. Very dark, surprising, just really well written. Like the first best intro to a comic series, one of the best intros to a comic series I've read recently. Made me want to know more. Labor Miho, one of my favorite comic book artists. Just like the detail that he does on his, and this was actually one that he illustrated. He wrote and illustrated. And I got him to sign it. When I had my trip to California, I was able to meet him at a book signing, and I got him to sign my copy, and he did it. Well, he wrote. That made me so happy. So yeah, keeping really as well. Also signed by the author. Oh god, just going. I can't. How much I love her art. Oh, I love the art in this. The story is really good too. It's a thick book. Also keeping it. At this point, it's not so much of a getting rid of Marie Kondo-ing as it is just me showing you my book collection and going nuts over books. I promise you I'm going to try to get rid of some. This book just makes me laugh. So, probably going to be keeping it too. I got this when I was trying to learn to do male references more because I hate drawing men. Hate it. They're so harsh and hard, whereas women are smooth and feminine. It's just, it's not pleasant. So this had a bunch of male references that I was going to try to draw because it was, like I said, I got it for like $2 used at McKay's. And what's interesting is even though I got this used for $2 at McKay's for references, it's actually signed by the artist. Not the artist. It's signed by the author. It was $2 used. Can't imagine why. Can't imagine why. But it still makes me chuckle. And it was a good reference guide. Still hate drawing men, but I'm slightly better at it. Rayhan. This is her art collection. And this was her first art book. Oh god, I love her work. I love her stuff. I love her stuff so much. I wish they'd had a hardback version of this, but I guess, you know, starting out. Just such colorful illustrations. What she does with markers is magic. Markers and colored pencils, like all of her character designs are in here. And just like hardcover. Signed, and she signs hers with a little sketch. Nashi does the same, and I love her. They're both German manga artists that are just incredible, and I love them so much. And she signed it with one of her characters. That took a lot of time, and I'm really appreciative of, because it's like the little things like that that just make them so unique. Manga Nashis, and look at all of that. Just the time that goes into that. That's incredible. Like her art is just magnificent. Ooh. Like, this is just some next level beautiful stuff. I love it. She puts so much time and effort into these, and her work is truly gorgeous and stunning, and I love it. Oh, if I could draw like her. Also signed, and she did individualized sketches on every single one of these, which was amazing. God, the artists that really do this, it just makes my day. Makes my day. I mean, just like, look at that. Look at how gorgeous that is. I have a print of this one. I absolutely love it. It's just stunning, and this was something that she just did for Inktober. And on her, like how she does her stuff with like her references and her materials and everything she uses. Love her stuff. Love her stuff too. I've got so many. Don Bluth's Art of Anastasia, because how could I not? I'm a simp. And so is my cat. My family has its own cookbook. Love this one. It's so good. Love this one too. It's one of my favorites. Love this artist. Hope to do a video on him at some point because his work is just... his work is amazing. So definitely we'll be doing a video on him in the future. Might do one on the other two. So many artists that I want to do videos on, and I'm excited to do them. Gleaming by Leia. That's why there's a lot of these artists, I'm not going to try to pronounce their names because I've only ever seen them on Instagram, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher them, but love her stuff. Love her stuff. I actually have her other two books as well that aren't her art books. Definitely want to do a video on her as well in the future. Love her stuff. I'll have to show you my other two books of hers. At this point, this video just might as well be a book club video because look at these. I absolutely love her books. Love her stories, love her concepts, love her colors, love her characters, Love her everything. They don't come in English, unfortunately, so I had to get the Spanish versions because I know a little bit of Spanish and I've been translating them. I mean, that's the same way, like I have... told you he was gonna do this. And so here we have another one of my favorite drawing books. So actually it's a whole series. It's a whole series. I love Don Bluth. Love Don Bluth. And these are signed by Don Bluth and Gary Goldman. One of my first art inspirations. He did Thumbelina, he did Land Before Time, which was my favorite as a kid. He did Secret of Nim. So many books that I love, or so many stories that I love, so many movies, and just the colors were incredible. Love his work. He did Anastasia, which is probably one of his best known films. And God, that film was gorgeous. So yeah, I've got a bunch of his books. I actually have I have his whole sketching DVD series for animation, which I was really lucky to find on eBay because it is out of print and it is one of my favorite things. Because he talks about how he draws his characters and everything like that, and it's really inspiring to me. I want to talk more about him in a video as well. So many videos, so little time. But I was gonna say. But yeah, he made an impact on me. I have his stuff. I have a lot of his stuff because I was part of one of his Kickstarter campaigns, and definitely keeping these. These are like my gold. I love them so much. I thought about being an animator, but I realized animation wasn't really for me because one, I don't want to work for Disney. I don't want to have them own every single thing I create, even in my free time. Looked into that because I thought, you know, when people think of art and animation, and I do love Disney, you know, you should be a Disney animator. Do not want to be a Disney animator. Because yeah, they own everything you create, even when you're off the clock. Fun fact. So anything I created while I worked for them would belong to them. And I'm not all about that. It's a lot, and it's beautiful, the work that they do. But I don't think it's quite for me, and I'll go into more of that on my journey. I have another one for you. The Leaf Men. The Leaf Men. Well, technically this is, it was originally called The Leaf Men and the Brave Good Bugs. So, this book to be a first edition. And I got this at a Goodwill for like $1. It's either $1 or it was $2. I can't remember. So fun story about this book. I was obsessed with this when I was in like preschool, and I had the teachers read it to me so many times that I had it memorized. Like, I was that kid that would be like, finish the book and then be like, read it again. I think they all got sick of me because I literally had this book memorized when I was a child. I mean, I did that with several books. I also had The Grinch Stole Christmas memorized. And it was funny because my mom would have videos of me just sitting there. And it looked like I was reading a book, but I was like 3 or 4. And, I mean, obviously I couldn't read at like 3 or 4. So I was literally just sitting there and I recognized the pages and I was saying the words on the pages like I was reading, but I really wasn't. So, and I would pretend to read. I'd pretend to read to other kids in the class with my memory. So yeah, this was one of my favorite books as a kid. I don't know what that says about me, but I just remember I was so obsessed with this little metal man. Like, it was the Beefman and the Brave Good Bugs. And like, I remember that there was this like old lady in this garden, and she got sick and she couldn't take care of the garden anymore. And then there was like this toy soldier that was stuck in the garden that was like a lost toy. He was lost in the garden, and he'd been lost in the garden for like years and years and years. And there's this little metal man, and of course I remember them. I remembered these leaf men as like army soldiers. I thought they were army soldiers because, you know, like 10 years later, when you still remember this book and you're trying to find it, and you're like, who would go, yeah, they were leaf men. So I was looking for army soldiers for the longest time, and I just remembered the leaf men were able to bring the toy soldier, not the toy soldier, but the little metal man back to the old lady. And that was the little metal man that her dad had given her, and it just, you know, magically made her better because it's a kid's book. And it just I don't know why I loved this so much, but it also shows like older ladies and just, I don't know, magic of being a kid. I couldn't explain why I love this book so much, but I did. And the funny thing is this book we found actually, you know, and I found it when I wasn't looking for it. I just saw the lake, you know, that, and I just pulled it out, and I was just like, huh, because this had come up when I was Googling trying to find the other book, but I was just like, no, they weren't leaf men, they were army men. They were in fact leaf men. So yeah, love this book too. I actually have a lot of kids' books. And as I said earlier, I will show you under my bed. I have 2 big full tubs of children's books. Not necessarily from my childhood, because although I did have a lot of books as a child, basically, I was engaged. I was with a guy for about 5 years, and we were engaged. And during that time, I don't know if I blame hormones or whatever, I developed this weird habit of, when I was at McKay's, when I was at the used bookstores, I would see these books for like 75 cents or $1, these kids' books that I, you know, either loved as a child or wanted to read or wanted my kid to read when I had one. So I developed this habit of buying children's books, and I amassed a small library of children's books for a child that, yeah, basically I started buying a bunch of kids' books. I guess I probably should take them and sell them because they're just kind of taking up space, and I don't know if and when that's ever gonna happen for me. So yeah, that's something that I'm thinking about while going through these books. Let me show you another one of my favorites, actually, if I can find it. It's a story, I'll tell you. This book. I'm gonna have to shut him out of the room that leads into my room. Stan Brock. Stan Brock wrote this book. I absolutely adore him. I met him in college when I did a film documentary on his charity, RAM, Remote Area Medical, which was a charity that he started initially to help countries in remote areas around the globe get medical care or access to medical care and doctors that a lot of them don't have. And yet he's based in America, and he ended up, because America's healthcare system is so shitty right now, having to do a lot of clinics here and provide a lot of vision, dental, and like basic medical care checkups to people in the US who couldn't afford it because our healthcare system is so awful. And just meeting him, like, people like him are a big part of the reason why I wanted to do this and declutter my space, because I have so much stuff and so many things. It's really insane, and I'm honestly embarrassed by just the sheer amount of things that I own. It's not right. He pretty much gave up everything. He lived in the charity just because he wanted to help people. He's just like the definition. He's honestly one of the best people that I've ever met. Like, I've never met a person that was so genuine and so giving and so caring in my life before. And I didn't honestly think that people like him ever existed. This is also signed by him as well. And so this is a book that I honestly treasure. I have a lot of books, but there are some that I really do treasure. Really good if you like Sherlock Holmes. This is a Sherlock Holmes Jack the Ripper. Very good. Oh. You want to see my second favorite children's book, To the Leafman, which actually is, I love the illustrations in this one a lot more, and I'm super excited about it. This one actually won a medal for how good it is. So it's It's King Bidgood in the Bathtub, and it's by Audrey Wood and Dawn Wood, and I love that it's this couple, this married couple that both one writes and one illustrates the books. And it's just, I love that they chose, like, this book, let's see, when did this book came out? It's an older book. This book came out in the 80s. This was a children's book that came out in the 80s. And like, I just love that they use like almost like Renaissance style paintings, and just like the expressions and all the faces and the clothes and the fantasy of it, because it's basically all these different courts people trying to get this king out of the bathtub, and he's just like, nope. So they're like, we've got to plan battle strategy, and so he's just like, we'll do it in the tub. And then it's just them showing this battle strategy in the tub, and then they're just like, everything, like, we gotta have dinner, we gotta have lunch, and then he's just like, well, lunch in the tub. And just look at the queen, she looks so fed up, and just that, oh my god, these illustrations, just, the whole concept is really cool, but the illustrations just get it. And then she comes out of the tub all soaking wet. Oh my gosh. And it's the same thing. It's just like, oh, we're gonna fish in the bathtub. I'm not gonna go out to fish. The fish can come to me in this tub. That looks so sanitary. So sanitary, I tell you. Oh my goodness. And then they're just like, oh, well, he's got to come out if we decide to throw a ball, because, we can't have a whole ball in the tub. You can't have a whole ball in the tub. Oh, but they did. They did. Oh, this book just delights me so much. Look at him. Look at how happy he looks in his tub. And he's a major player, because then he's just like, we don't know how to get him out of the tub, and then he's just like, I do. I totally just ruined this book for you, but it just delights me. It just delights me. Okay, almost done. Actually, no, because I've got that shelf, and I've got that and I'm 65% done. Based on a video game. Amazing for like concept art and like character design, especially dark character design. But out of print, this is a pretty hard to find art book now. like the imagery, the detail, the set design, the characters. This I like when I was, you know, thinking I was gonna draw my own comic book. I specifically was really interested in this for the character design and like all the detail that it went into about like what they thought and what they were planning on doing originally with the character design. So super excited to finally have my own copy of this. I also just realized the heater's on in the background. Audio, probably not going to be good. There's going to be a lot of audio issues with this video. I'm apologizing for that now. But you gotta do what you gotta do. This is one of the darkest stories I've ever read, and you wouldn't be able to tell it because the style is so cutesy and watercolor. But my god, it is very unsettling, very disturbing. And I love contrast. Like, I absolutely love contrast in stories, in anything. And a big part of it is because you don't see it coming. And it just, like, I don't know what it is about contrast, but the fact that this is a very creepy and disturbing story, but it's told in such a cutesy, childlike, you know, whimsical watercolor style, just adds that extra layer of, I don't know if it's depth or if it's just something extra to it, because it's not like it's trying too hard. It's like, it is really dark and disturbing and unsettling, but it's not portraying itself as that. It's got an extra like layer to it. It's the exact opposite of on the nose. It's very surprising, I guess, but it's just, my god. I love stories like this that, I mean, I didn't particularly love the story because the ending is really horrific, but I do really like dark, disturbing, and depressing things, and the fact that it's not like, so many stories overly saturate their point. Like, if they're dark and horrific, they make everything miserable and dark and horrific, and so you get kind of numb to it. You don't feel the full brunt of it, of the impact, because you're expecting it. You're able to prepare yourself. Whereas if something just takes this out of left field turn, and you're just like, holy shit, you know? It makes more of an impact, in my opinion, because of that. That's why I love it. Because it's got the happy mixed with the sad, so it like recalibrates your emotions, and it makes the sad and the hard parts hit that much harder because you were on that high from the happy. Whereas if it was just depressing and miserable all the time, it's like, oh, well, you know, that's expected, to quote the Joker. It's all a part of the plan. Doesn't freak you out as much. And with things that are very obviously horror, it is all a part of the plan. Whereas this, definitely, there's a little bit of a hint of it with the hand there, but the art style would not necessarily lead you to believe that the story was going to be that. Sketchbook. I actually really need to like do some work in this. I wonder where my Draw with Angel book is. I'm gonna have to try to find that because it's in here. It's in here somewhere. But I don't know where it is. Nobody, you chew on my books. I told you. You can't come in. I've been looking for this, actually. I've been looking for this. And yeah, super excited about this. I actually have several books that have been recommended by this artist as well. Why is this not a book channel? I don't know. I'm gonna probably do some videos or not some videos, but I'll do a video on a lot of the different books that he recommended to me and why I think they're so great, because books really excite me. I mean, obviously I have a problem, but yeah, I was looking for this because I was trying to find it the other day and I was just like, where did I knew I used it, but just sounds like I'm about to get attacked by a zombie. And it's literally just my cat because I locked him out of my room. Anyways, love this book. And yeah. And it's even signed by the artist. I have a lot of books that are actually signed by the artist. And those are my favorite. But what touches me so much about the signature in this one is that I didn't buy this book in the initial launch. I just bought this off of his store like over a year later when I actually found out about him, and he still took the time to sign it. So that was really special to me because a lot of the art books that I buy just off the store later on aren't. And he didn't have to do that, but he did. So I think that really goes to show what kind of a person he is. More books to go through. Icarus and the Sun, Piccolo, Gabriel Piccolo. I was part of the Kickstarter for this one. Just, I love his Teen Titans drawings and everything. I will say, and which is interesting because he didn't sign any of his, I don't think. One of the many, many great books that was recommended to me by the artist who wrote this. Anywho. So this book has been so helpful to me, and I actually want to do a whole video on the different books that he recommended and how just wonderful they are for changing your life, because I really needed a life change, and now I think I'm taking some steps towards that. Participated in the Kickstarter for this because, like I said, I'm obsessed with Peter Pan, and they did a phenomenal job. Just the imagery, I love the way they set up the panels. It's gorgeous work. Love this book. And it's not a book that you can find anywhere because it was pretty much just for the Kickstarter. This book was recommended to me by Brandon Suttles, one of my directors at Joy Television and a dear friend of mine who passed away from cancer also last year. And he really loved Robin Williams, was one of his favorite actors. And that's saying a lot because we were both huge movie buffs. Obviously you've seen my room. I have a problem, but we would constantly argue over who had the most movies. Because he kept saying that he did, and I mean, I was just like, no. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the movies. If there's one thing that you should get out of this video, it's understanding that I'm obsessed with books. You thought I was just joking in my intro video. I wish. Not really, but Cosmic Spectrum's graphic novel that she did, this actually really inspired me, and for the longest time I wanted to do this, but my god, this took her 2 whole years of like nothing but this to produce, and just to spend 2 years and then for them to only It was only $24. Like, love her, like, colors, love her, well, love her colors. I mean, I do. Just, like, her faces and her facial expressions and her art style. I love her art style so much. This is so gorgeously drawn. Like, even the creepy parts. Even the creepy parts are still, oh, they're so pretty. And, like, her characters, I love her art style so much. And this is a beautiful, beautiful book. So 3 more books that I also really love that probably take up a lot of room in my space, but I'm also probably not going to get rid of, because I'm the kind of person that when I get bored, of course I'm not, I've got so much planned that I don't really have time to get bored anymore. I like to read and learn random weird facts about things. So these books come in handy for that, because they're just so chock full of interesting, useless information. Like, one of these books, the one in the center, is literally the book of useless information. And then there's the book of amazing curiosities and the book of unusual knowledge. And I just love skimming through them and learning new things. For example, I will read you one random thing out of each of these books. So let's see here. If the moon were made of green cheese, ever wonder how many slices of cheese the moon would make if it were made of green cheese? Of course you have. I'm not going to read that number, but look at that number. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of green cheese. It's a lot of green cheese. I don't know what I'm going to do with that knowledge, but I have that knowledge now. And so do you. That wasn't even useful. That wasn't even useless information. That was just unusual knowledge. So this one. Oh, look, here's a check stub from when I worked at Commons Art Shops years ago as a caricature artist. All right. Oh, here's the truth about Blair. Talking about the Blair Witch? Yes. In October of 1994, I swear I'm better at reading when I'm not on camera. In October of 1994, 3 student filmmakers disappeared in the woods near Burkittsville, Maryland, while shooting a documentary called The Blair Witch Project. A year later, their footage was found. These words began the movie, The Blair Witch Project, and touched off one of the biggest media controversies since the 1938 radio broadcast of War of the Worlds, which, if you're unfamiliar with, War of the Worlds was written by Orson Welles, and they decided to do a thing where they would read it like an audiobook. They would read it over the radio to entertain listeners, and I mean, they read books. Anyways, I guess the reader was so convincing that people listening to the radio broadcast thought it was an actual news broadcast instead of a book being read, and so a lot of people genuinely thought that the world was under attack by aliens. And so that's what that controversy is about. And a similar thing happened with the Blair Witch Project. People genuinely believed that what happened in the movie The Blair Witch Project really happened to these college kids in real life, and it helped with the fact that the actors didn't really do much post that. But yeah, The Blair Witch Project is an interesting case study in both movies and psychology, so I'm fascinated by it, but I've never actually watched it all the way through because I hate found footage films, and I find them really boring and dull and hard to watch. Plus, I get motion sickness really easy, and so films like that just make me nauseous and dizzy and sick. Like, I couldn't watch Hardcore Henry. I tried. With my fiance at the time, I tried to watch it, and I literally had to make him pause the movie several times because I felt like I was gonna puke. So I don't like found footage films because I think it's just a lazy excuse to have horrendous camera work and slow storytelling, both of which kill me. So yeah. fascinated by the Blair Witch Project, but I've never actually seen the full movie because I can't. Amazing Curiosities, which I got for $8.42. I need to take some of the stickers off my books. Oh, Enough is Enough. Hooked on Heroin. No, I'm not sure I want to read about Hooked on Heroin. But just like, it's just so fascinating. You can learn something new. I learn something new every single time I read this. Like, oh, black cat, good luck. So, it's long been purported that a cat, black or any other hue, can bring good luck to a marriage. I'd heard the good luck part. I hadn't heard the marriage part. If a cat sneezes in the home of the bride on the eve, or in some sources say on the actual day of her wedding, a blanket of good luck will cover her wedding day. First, find your cat. I had never heard that having a cat sneeze on the day before your wedding day. Maybe if that had happened to me, it would have saved mine. I doubt it. And to be on the safe side, a bride could always personally feed the household cat before leaving for the church on her wedding day. The act is believed to bring lasting happiness to her married life. Don't have a cat? Request one on your gift registry. Don't request a cat on your gift registry just for good luck on your wedding. That's a horrible idea. At one time in England, it was believed that a bride who received a black cat on her wedding day would have the best of luck. See, if people believed that, so many people wouldn't go out of their way to attack them on Halloween. I think we really need to get that information out there. So, tell your friends. Black cat is actually good luck, especially on a woman's wedding day. Don't tell them to add them to her registry, though. Like, seriously. Animal abuse. Of course, wedding superstitions don't always involve animals of the feline persuasion. It's unlucky if a pig crosses the path of the bride on her wedding day. And if she spots a lizard on the way to her wedding, she might as well go back home. Okay. Oh gosh. Here's another one. And this has to do with, why people throw rice at weddings and now apparently the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So as long as people have been getting married, they've been avoiding supernatural spirits and their ethereal intents. In fact, to prevent trouble with the spirit world, guests began throwing rice when newly betrothed couples departed. The idea was the tiny grains would assuage the injured feelings of the spirits who didn't really like to see the mortals happy. Oh, so yes. If I ever get engaged again, just, keep my cat close by and throw a bunch of rice on my head. Rice also played an important role for the groom. It was used as a charm to keep the groom's soul in his body. Turns out the souls of grooms had a penchant for running away from impending marital responsibilities. In recent years, however, tossing this grain fell out of favor largely because of an oft-repeated myth that the uncooked rice would be eaten by birds that would then explode as the rice expanded in their tiny bellies. According to the USA Rice Federation, however, uncooked rice is harmless food for birds. Still, an increasing number of couples opt to have guests toss bird seed, release butterflies, or blow bubbles. There's no word on whether tiny bubbles cause bad luck. I enjoy these books so much. How can I get rid of them? I have a problem. I need help. I need therapy. I need something. I don't know. I'm gonna have lunch now. So yes, ponder that. If you want to keep your groom from running away from his marital responsibilities, throw some rice at the motherfucker. I can't. That was too good. That was too good. this guy. So coffee art. I had a coffee art phase shortly after my Heather Rooney colored pencil phase. And I have 2 copies of this book. And I have 2 copies of this book because when I was a part of, it wasn't a Kickstarter because he's not, I don't think the countries that he's in had Kickstarter, and he's mostly speaks Spanish, but the initial book that I got was damaged, and I, you know, it was in one of the higher tiers. So basically he both drew a sketch and he did a little mini coffee painting of Thumbelina in here. And that took a lot of time and effort, and I just love that he did that. So I'm keeping this one despite it being completely and utterly wrecked, because the art in it and the time spent on it was amazing. But because mine got damaged, he was wonderful enough to send me a second one, which he drew Batman in. He drew on this one and signed it too, so I have 2 signed copies of his art book because of this. But just like, oh my god, I gotta show this, the work he does with coffee. It blows my mind. He's the one that made me just want to jump in and try coffee. Just made me want to jump in and try coffee art. Coffee is just so intricate and so detailed. So just gorgeous. I'm gonna have to show you the crow another time, but that's the Harley Quinn print that I have because it is gorgeous and I absolutely love it. His work is just stunning. Stunning. Like, you have no idea. So yep. Yet another art book that I am keeping. So this book is one of my all-time favorites. I read it every Christmas. I actually have 2 copies. One that has the cover, you know, and looks nice and still intact, and he writes and illustrates his own books too. I say 2 as if I do it. I mean, I do it. I don't publicly share or post it. So like, this is what I hope to do one day. I mean, not this exactly. This isn't quite my style, but I love this style and I love his art, and I love that he has illustrations in his book, especially of like the characters. I want to try to find Isabella because she was one of my favorite characters from this book, but love his work. He also did The Child Thief, which is on Peter Pan. That was the first book I read of his, and I think I have all of his books now, because if we've established nothing else from this video, it is that I have a problem. But just love his character illustrations, his work. Love his stories. They're dark. And I say dark, so excited. They're dark. They're dark. Again, I'm sorry about my cat. The stories these tell, like, that is one of my goals as an artist, is to be able to tell stories with my images like this. Like, this is why, you know, these artists like this are my absolute favorite in the world. It's just, I love storytelling in any format, and like my goal, my dream is to be able to tell stories with my art. Like, the beauty. Like, that's what I want to do one day. Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. So my parents got back from their vacation. Some of the noise you might have heard in the video. They were on vacation when I started with the clothing. But they have since returned. And My mom got me something. They went on a cruise. I don't know, but she got me a children's book. I think she likes to feed my addiction for buying children's books, and I'm sure she has other reasons. Like, she wants to encourage me to encourage any kid that I may have to read. And especially like the older ones. It's funny because the names, I'm a 5-year-old, but the names on them, slang means such different things now than it did back then. Speaking of pussy, I guess I got a lot of it, but makes it harder for me to get rid of my plethora of kids' books underneath my bed. I don't currently see that future for myself anymore, but I don't know. I don't know what my life has in store for me yet, so should I keep these children's books or should I let them go? I don't know. Starting this video off with my Captain Sir Box cat helping me. I'm about to show you the tubs under my bed filled with books. And it's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be a challenge. So, about to show you underneath my bed. His favorite place. I have here's one of them. I still have 2 more tubs. This is the baby tub. This is the baby tub. So, like, yeah, Anastasia, DuckTales, Dr. Seuss. That was my cat. Now I'm concerned. Rescuers. And I think some of these Dr. Seuss books were actually my books. Because there's a video. My mom has a video of me sitting in the floor, in the kitchen floor, when I was like 3 or 4, reading. It looks like I'm reading this book. But I'm actually not. I had it memorized. And so I was reading it from memory. So, yeah. Peter and Wendy. Garfield. Like, you can see, like, these books were books that I got for like 75 cents. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose. Older ones that I've never even heard of before that just kind of look cool. This monster at the end of this book. Loved that one when I was little. God, so many. So many. Secret of Nim. Miss Brigsby. I don't understand. I do understand. I have a problem. So, like, I'm setting my kid up, I guess, with the library. My kid. I say that like I have a kid. Like I'm setting her. I was trying to set my future kid up the library that I always wanted as a kid. And that's just top one. Yeah. Let's look back under here, shall we? My magical children's book hoarding problems. But like Goodnight Moon. Puppy Roundup. Disney Children's Treasuries. 75 like just random fables, continuations of stories. Like, oh my god, it's so ironic that I opened up to this page because Black Cauldron. Love Black Cauldron, very underrated. Came out in the 80s, and like you never see books. Like I actually have a little golden book of this Black Cauldron because I love Black Cauldron, but it's not something you see as much anymore. But yeah, it's like Stitch and Ohana and family, and On the Outside about Pocahontas too, where she meets John Rolfe, which, you know, I like John Smith so much better, but this was actually literally the best part of that movie, and this is in here. So yeah, definitely have a problem. Because I've got 3 tubs of books. Children's books. No chewing. You chew again, I'm gonna put you out again. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Who else am I talking to? Who else am I talking to? Just, you know, everyone on YouTube. Hi. Yeah. I definitely have a problem. And I'm not sure how to address it. Do I get rid of my 3 bins of children's books? That is what I need to figure out. But I will come back to that at a later point. I don't know. Because it's like, do I need them right now? No. Do I use them at all? Clearly not. They're in tubs under my bed. And I might not ever even have kids, so I don't know. I don't know if I should get rid of them or not. That's a question I need to pose to the audience. Ask the audience, phone a friend, please help me. Should I get rid of my 3 tubs of children's books underneath my bed? Or should I save them for a potential magical future that I might never see? I don't know. But I'm going to procrastinate and come back to that at a later time, because that's not going to take this video anywhere that it needs to go. The other tub is all the way on the other side of my bed. So just take my word for it. I have 3 tubs, 4 tubs. I have 4 tubs full of children's books, and my phone is about to die, so I'm going to charge it and then show you my process narrowing down my books. this mountain of books is hard. It's hard, kitty. It's hard. God. So I gotta sort through all of this. And like, I love this book. Like, this book definitely had an impact on my high school years. I don't know if that was good or bad, but it was a good book. This is actually the book I'm reading currently. We'll see how it goes. Oh God. Help. Also a very influential book to me. Cat, your tail's in the way of my shot. Cat, how you doing? Don't do it. No. I'm telling you, no. Kitty, you are fat and you are heavy and you are... You are going to cause an avalanche of books. Don't you chew on it. Hey. Stop. Cat. There we go. Stay over there. Good boy. This book is so depressing, it's so good. Hey. No chewing. Don't make me come over there. Oh, the American education system in a nutshell. Winnie the Pooh, Halloween. Lassie, Christmas Story. Glittery Princess, Christmas book. I wish I could show you guys the art up close on this one. It's so good. It's gold or silver. Such a beautiful book. And this was only $4 at McKay's. This whole like Christmas treasury. Well, it's not Christmas treasury, but it's a frozen treasury. And the art in it, of course, it doesn't credit the artist or artists who worked on it because it's Disney, and Disney doesn't freaking credit artists at all. Like, you work for Disney, you basically just sign your name away because all the art you do is going to go under the name Disney. But it's gorgeous. And these are stories that I never saw. I mean, these are frozen stories with the frozen characters that I had never seen before. They're gorgeous. They'll go in my children's book pile. I need to figure out what I'm going to do later. Oh, look, a Bible. This was one of my mom's books. I always loved it. Oh. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Guess I probably should read this. I don't know if that's those coffee stains. Did this say something about a PC? How old is this book? PC principle. I wonder what the PC principle is. I can't read that right now. To read. Robin Hood. Really nice copy of a book that my cat has already chewed the corners on. Oh gosh. Oh. The Plucker is another of Brahms' books. And I love how it has an angel face palming on the back. I love his books. And it's all illustrated. It's illustrated by him as well. Hello, buddy. You're a good kitty. You know that? You're a good kitty. This was written by my best friend from 4th grade up until we went to separate high schools. It's a book of poetry and reflections and pictures from her. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I took up so much of your space, cat. This is all about her dealing with the fact that she's Palestinian and everything that was happening in Palestine and Gaza at the time. It's really powerful. Very powerful. Oh, Rihan. Yeah. 2 of Rihan's manga. But unfortunately we're only in German. Is this laid in this one? So, just in case you guys are wondering, Hocus Pocus, magic phrase evolved from the medieval practice of intoning liturgical words as invocations and charms. Hocus pocus is a corruption of hocus corpus meum. This is my body, from the sacrament of the Eucharist. So basically, hocus pocus means this is my body. And I loved that movie growing up, and the fact that it's just this is my body is that's kind of funny. Did not know that. Friday, day of the goddess Freya, called unlucky by Christian monks because everything associated with female divinity was so called. Friday the 13th was said to be especially unlucky because it combined the goddess's sacred day with her sacred number, drawn from the 13 months of the pagan lunar calendar. See menstrual calendar. Romans named the day dies Venereus after Venus, their own. So yeah, Friday was named after the goddess Freya, and she was unlucky because she was a woman. And yeah, the 13th was her number, so it's considered unlucky because of this goddess. That is interesting. Ooh. Bitch. Okay, let's read about this. This became a naughty word in Christian Europe because it was one of the most sacred titles of the goddess Artemis Diana, leader of the Scythian Alani, or hunting dogs. The bitch goddess of antiquity was known in all of Indo-European cultures, beginning with the great bitch Sarama, who led the Vedic dogs of death. The old English word for a hunting dog, bod, also became a naughty word because it applied to the divine huntress's promiscuous priestesses. Try saying that 3 times fast. Divine huntresses, promiscuous priestesses. Try saying that 3 times fast. Oh my god. As well as her dogs. Harlots and bitches were identified in the ancient Roman cult of the goddess of Lupa, the wolf bitch, whose priestesses, the Lupae, gave their name to prostitutes in general. Interesting. Early representatives of the wolf bitch rule of Roman town in Ira Flava in Spain as queen or queens named Lupa. In Christian terms, son of a bitch was considered insulting, not because it meant a dog, but because it meant a devil. That is, a spiritual son of the pagan goddess. Yeah, I always thought that bitch meant dog. You were like a female dog, so you're calling someone a female dog, but in reality, the bitch goddess. She led the dogs of death. Interesting. It's gonna be weird if I see bitch as a good term from now on. Huh. That has given me a lot to think about. And I'm definitely keeping this monster book now. I need to read more of it. Oh, this is interesting. Mistletoe. So mistletoe was the golden bow that gave access to the underworld according to pagan belief. The gold color of dried mistletoe is seen as a symbol of apotheosis, as was gold metal. The living plant was viewed as the genitalia of the oak god Zeus or Jupiter or Dionysus of Dodona, consort of the moon mother Diana, lady of the grove. As the season of sacrifice, Druidic priests priests ceremonially castrated the oak god by cutting off his mistletoe with a golden moon sickle, catching it in a white cloth before it could touch the ground, so it remained like every sacrificial deity between heaven and death. The phallic significance of mistletoe probably stemmed from the notion that its whitish berries were semen drops, as the red berries of its feminine counterpart, holly, were equated with the goddess's menstrual blood. Among Indo-European peoples generally, castration of the god was customary before immolation. So why do we kiss under it? To Nordic pagans, mistletoe symbolized the death of the savior god Balder of Odin, whose second coming was expected after Doomsday, when he would return. Okay. Gross. Okay, after they were converted to Christianity, Saxons claimed the mistletoe was the forbidden tree in which the middle of the trees of Eden, the tree of knowledge, which was popularly supposed to have been furnished the woods for Jesus' cross. I did not know that. The phallic meaning of mistletoe made it the key that opened the underworld's womb. Key and phallus being interchangeable in mystical writings. It's really bad to have those terms be interchangeable because that is so confusing. Key and phallus. Okay. Being interchangeable in mystic writings, some treatises said all locks are opened by the herb mistletoe combined with the feminine herb. Okay, which makes men. The pagans' interpretations of mistletoe were still understood in Renaissance times, when it was adopted as an emblem of the new Messiah and carried to the high altar of English churches on Christmas Eve. But some Christian writers insisted that mistletoe never entered those sacred edifices by mistake or ignorance of the sextons, for it was a heathenish and profane plant, as having been such a distinction of the pagan rites of Druidism. I'm never going to be able to look at mistletoe the same way again. Oh. Oh my god. Maybe this is why I have no friends. I spent so much time entertained by books and in love with books and reading books. Oh. It's crazy. It's crazy. Definitely keeping this book. I need to read more of it. Oh god. Flowers of War. It's a book of mine that I was reading and then someone threw into the pool. Yep. There's certain events I went to when I was not popular, and people would do things like throw my books into the pool. I know, it's hard to believe I was not liked by a lot of people. Well, not a lot of people, but
I have more people than I was expecting. God. Well, it's just one group of people. Really. Oh, read this book in high school, either end of sophomore year, junior year. This book fucked me up. Was not age appropriate, but didn't know that at the time. Really good book though. I reread it as an adult and didn't scare me nearly as much. Didn't scar me nearly as much either. And a really good book. Really, really sad book. There's like 3 of these, aren't there? And Contact. Also really good.
I actually just pretty much after the last clip sat there for a good like several hours just thinking, I can't get rid of any of these. And so by the time it was time for me to go to bed, I had this big massive pile of books in the middle of my floor that I couldn't figure out what to do with. And I was just like, I need to go to bed. And it got to the point where I was just like, well, yes, but if I go to bed and I leave my books on the floor like this, my cat will chew them like he does everything in my life. So I was just like, okay, well, I don't have time to get all of these books up off the floor before I go to bed because it's getting kind of late. So I had to like prioritize. I was like, okay, which books do I want him to not chew? Which books would I be okay if he chewed a little bit? And which books do I definitely want to make sure he does not chew? And that's what I did. Is like, I prioritized. I was like, I want to get these books up off the floor so he doesn't chew them. And that was an interesting thought process in the sense that I actually was prioritizing which books were important to me and which books were not so important to me without even realizing it. And before I knew it, I had the books that were really important to me up off the floor, and the ones that remained on the floor, I was kind of just like, well, if they really weren't that important, why did I leave them on the floor where my cat could chew them? And that's how I got to this point.